and welcome to this week's episode of our podcast. This week we were working hard, but now we are hardly working. I'm Sophia, and with me is Peter.
Hello. Hope you guys are doing well. And it's really rainy and wet and cold in Cape Town this week. And I'm not a big fan. The fingers are cold and slow.
Yeah, I think we all probably had some trouble this morning in the practice rooms.
Just getting up.
Getting up is a thing. Luckily, we don't have that much load shedding this week. So it's not, we haven't been sitting without heat. I think it's nice. You can still boil your kettle and make yourself a nice warm cup of coffee. I think it was also good that it was a nice short week.
Lovely. Yeah, definitely.
And starting on Wednesday and
holidays.
Yeah, so that's nice. We hope that you guys had a nice time. Today we are talking about our next topic, which will be like cover bands, covering songs, how you can make it original, who has made it original in the past. Kind of going to look at a few examples, discuss stories of how it's done. Because let's face it, covering existing music is sort of the original way of
sort
playing
of gone with
music.
The backbone.
Yeah, like back in the day, you didn't have any replay method. There was no playback method before the 1890s. So before then, like it was like you wanna learn a song, you wanna listen to a song, you gotta learn to play the song.
Yeah, that wasn't it. The famous story of Jimi Hendrix that played a Beatles tune on the day that they released the album or something like that. I think it was in the Jimi Hendrix movie, because Jimmy went over to Europe to play a show. The Beatles came and watched, and on that day they released Sgt. Pepper. And I can't remember what song it was. In the dressing room before the Hendrix show, I think the drummer or bassist or someone brought the LP in. It was like, oh, look, there's a new Beatles tune. Oh, Beatles album. You know, they put the LP on and they listened to it, and Jimmy was like, let's play it. You know, let's open with this. What are their songs?
Brand new songs.
And they were in the crowd as well. And I think that, you know, they didn't have tabs or, you know, quickly Google chords.
Just like they
just
learn it.
Quickly figured out the song. They just learned it and they played it.
I think learning
15 minutes later.
Learning a super new song or covering any song that's that people like currently is the best proof to show that a musician's paying attention. You know, if because like those guys, Sgt. Pepper blew up. That was one of their most artistic endeavors. It was very weird and out there. So the fact that he kind of like he picked up on that, and it wasn't like we're looking at Instagram trends and this is what's no, it was a musicianship intuition. He just thought, you know, I listen to this is gonna be cool when we're playing it, and that is mostly how covering choosing repertoire works. It's just listen to what's good and hope that you are right, that other people think it's good as well.
Yeah, but I think like songs aside and everything aside, and being a cover band and everything aside, I think the most that I've learned in general is just by learning other people's songs. It's like learning a guitar-driven song. You know, half the time you'll learn new techniques. You like learn new cool settings for your amps, or just like a cool new interpretation of a song or a genre. So I mean, just let's say learning 20 songs or 10 songs for a cover show already adds to your musicianship. It adds to your ear if you work out the songs on ear. And I mean, it's always, let's say you squeeze for time. I mean, I had to, it was a long time ago, I got booked for a bass gig, and I had to learn about, I think, 25 to 30 songs in about 2 days. And it was like half the songs, there aren't chords for that. It was like very Afrikaans music, you know, not all of them have like chords online. So you just sort of kind of have to sit there and make your notes and just go through the songs and like really trust your ear. You know, if you have a song down, you make a note of it. Cool, done. Next.
Yeah.
There's no sitting around and humming and humming.
repertoire development's the most important thing when choosing a cover band or setting up a cover band, because cover bands have a massive market, not just for silly gigs like market gigs and boat gigs, background gigs, restaurant gigs, all of those gigs, wedding gigs especially. I think it's the biggest one.
You can rank them by pay.
Yes, you can rank them by pay. Corporate, I think that's the umbrella term.
That's the big word
that people use. Is, corporate gigs. You basically become a live radio, but it works, And but there's that. But then there's also like the fact that you get cover bands that are made for the artistic endeavor thereof, and I think that you can see on YouTube. There are
Instagram and TikTok.
But you get a lot of really good groups of super innovative music, and I personally have noticed that a genre can evolve and grow with its covers. I mean, that's literally how jazz became jazz, and then became rock and roll, and then became punk.
Yeah.
They all came from in some form or way. It's like a little weird, like fungi. It's like fungi. It's making a lot of different shapes and types of fungi, but they all come from just one fun guy. So it's a thing of how if a new genre or something, it's not going to be notated. It's not going to be available to learn. Normally it's by word of mouth, it's by collaboration, it's by gigging, it's by jamming, and then you fast forward a few years and then that thing is now in the book for us to learn every week. And then we kind of take it from there again and we dissect it again and we play it in some other way to keep it fresh.
Yeah, but I mean it's basically almost human-like. Someone does something and then people interpret it out of their perspective. And I mean, it's just like their musical perspective, and someone will bring out like a regular pop tune, and then a day or two later, there is someone that made this crazy funk or rock cover from this tune.
Scream death metal cover. Katy Perry's Firework. Why not?
I mean, it's funny sometimes how you can almost determine if a song is really well written if it lends itself to multiple genres.
Yes.
You have a good chord progression, you have all your fundamentals, you have a strong melody line, and then it leaves space for improvising over that.
Yeah.
And reharmonization and just rearranging in general.
Yeah. Well,
a good hook line you can put almost in any genre, it'll still stay good.
Yes, what I find ironic about that is that a lot of these pop tunes are exactly the kind of songs where rock musicians and jazz musicians would go, I hate this song so much. And then there's always like that one rock or jazz musician that's like, okay, then I'm going to change it so that we can like it. Like that is the big part of it, is if your song has something in it that everyone can like. And I find that's mostly usually the melody, the hook line, because bass lines you change, grooves you change, chords you change. Like
that's the first thing you change.
It's the first thing you change. Oh, I'd say it's grooves or chords, but the melody usually stays the same. Melody stays the same. Isn't that a Led Zeppelin song? Either way,
the song remains the same.
Song remains the same. There we go. Yeah, exactly. So it's such an art in itself to make covers.
Because there's that whole thing of a cover band and then a tribute band. But I guess, I mean, like, look, I think a good line to draw between like a cover band and a tribute band is like a tribute band is like a tribute to one act instead of multiple songs from multiple acts.
Yes.
And there's always like a big gamble you take. Because people do love, I mean, in South Africa, I mean, we've got the barnyard shows.
Yes.
And all that. Be like, people love to go out and go watch like a proper tribute / cover.
Well, those are really good.
Yeah, usually it's like a really well arranged, and people love their medleys. My goodness, people love medleys.
Yeah.
If you want to make money, make medleys.
Yeah, medleys. Because the one thing, something that works really well in anything, for hooking someone in is the moment you remind them of something they like, immediately remind them of the other thing they also like, and then the other thing, and then they go, oh, how did you know?
Yeah.
I knew all three of these songs, and now it's one song. It's like magic. It's like dark magic. Like, oh, how, like, you're telling me I can put "We Will Rock You" and "Back to Black" in the same song, and it works. It's like, yes. And that's kind of, it's where the math and the music and the music knowledge comes in. But it all comes down to listening and being respectful. I think that's what the Barnyard guys get right. Is they have a reputation. They've garnered a reputation of doing it well.
Yeah.
So even where they fail, like you might be watching a show and you go, that was a bit cringy. It goes unnoticed because everything else has been so good and so well managed.
Yeah.
But then you get, other cover groups that are maybe less successful. Obviously, we don't even know their names, But that would be when you're trying really hard to perhaps cover it and still make it your own. I think that's tributes. You should not try to make a tribute your own unless you are solidly in it. That reputation needs to be behind it.
Yeah. I think one thing that holds a lot of people back is the instrumentation, because let's say you're a 3-piece band and you want to cover not just Queen but just even a modern pop song with synths and stuff. You're not going to be able to do the song exactly like Ed Sheeran or any other modern pop stars. So in that way you're almost forced to do it your own, in your own way.
Yes.
But if you decide to do one act and attribute to their music, and you have multiple musicians with good musicianship, and everyone decides collectively, okay, cool, we need to not just learn the songs and then interpret it, okay, I'm going to learn the chords and then improvise the solo, but to sit there and to learn the solo. Because usually in bands especially, there is usually one aspect or two aspects that makes the band in a sense. Like, let's say AC/DC, it's the guitar.
Yes, and the
it's about the guitar, full stop.
Shorts.
And the shorts. And I did an AC/DC tribute once, and I just decided, okay, I'm just going to sit and learn every solo note for note.
Yes.
Because
they're going to eat it.
People love it.
People
know exactly how those solos go. Exactly. So you can't gamble in any way to you're not just going to give up and just half-ass improvised solo. That's a special type of commitment. You got to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to nail this.
Yes, and I mean, I've seen that. You see that a lot with rock covers. Is that guitar solo is the gospel.
Yeah.
But what's really great is if you get a guitar solo that, I think it was recently I watched it. I can't remember what it was, but they started the solo off perfectly, like doing it exactly by the book, and then in the middle they drifted away and did their own thing, but they maintained the tone and the style, and they still imitated the phrasing of the musician. It becomes more a study of not just that solo, but the musician that did the solo.
That's you can almost look at it in a way of the musician going okay, cool, I recognize what you did in the solo, I like it, but this is how I would do it. At the end, which is kind of cool as well.
Yeah, it keeps it fresh, because you don't want to just be a copycat. I think it's also about not overdoing it, which is a massive thing in the theater tributes. If I think about overdoing it, I'm already hearing so many bad renditions of Broadway tunes in my head where they're just over singing it, or trying to sing it in a modern style, with belts and everything, and it gets a bit much. Christina Aguilera covers of stuff. Christina Aguilera is a great singer. I absolutely love her. But I don't like it when she covers stuff, because she just adds too much of that into the music sometimes, and it just then drifts away from what it was. I mean, I can think of half a dozen terrible Hallelujah covers that do exactly that.
Yeah.
So I think, and I'm not trying to just go on to singers. It's the same with any other instrument. If you don't have that kind of restraint and discipline and backbone to know what to do to what extent, you run the risk of overdoing it, no matter how good you are. And that then kind of defeats the purpose of the cover.
Yeah, I mean, because sometimes you'll play a song that's like really easy for you to play, but it doesn't mean you have to overdo it, like you said. That's where the discipline takes to just like sit back and be like, okay, just serve the song.
Yes.
You can always, just like a rule of thumb, just always go back, just serve the song and serve the song.
A example that I'm still in awe of is how Adam Lambert managed to absolutely blend into Queen. And he doesn't impersonate Freddie at all.
Yeah.
Yet there are some really, really good Freddie Mercury tribute singers. There's this one guy that was very, very good on YouTube, and he did he did shows as Freddie, and he had the mustache and the hair and the jacket, and he literally, I think if you're in the audience and you look at that guy, you're watching Freddie Mercury, because he does it with such restraint and respect. Whereas Adam Lambert, he steps into the role as a new Queen, but there's almost that. You can feel his awareness for the musicians around him. You can feel his awareness of what he's doing. He's not trying to outshine poor old man Brian May, who's just trying to still stand upright. It's almost beautiful to see that.
Yeah, it's just respectful.
Like a continuation of
how imagine that feeling of stepping into a band that has done so much. And now I have to fill those shoes. I mean, that sounds frightening.
Yeah, I would not know what to do. Which is why I'm saying, like, Adam Lambert, I'm in awe every time I see him perform with them. It's you don't really understand how, because there's no real way to just say this is how you can perfectly cover something. Yes, we can sit and talk about it and try to figure it out, but ultimately it's like that respect and doing it, trying it. If it doesn't work, don't try it again. Because if you try it again, it's going to be just either change it or stop. But you have to kind of be very self-critical and know when to not overstep or where you're stepping.
Yeah. I guess we've all tried covers, and you think it'll fit with your set or with your band or whatever, and then you start playing it, and then you realize like, this doesn't suit you at all, actually. And I'm not going to force it, and I'm just actually going to, okay, cool, this song isn't working, let's just leave it. Let's not force it and make fools of ourselves trying to play this.
Questions to COPA about music, business, and stuff. So the first question we kind of already answered, but I think we can just grab it again, is what makes a good cover band versus a bad cover band, if we can sum up that situation.
Well, first of all, how well they know the songs.
It's confidence,
but like what I usually also do when I learn a song is I watch a video of the original band playing the song live, because a lot of those bands play their own songs a little different live.
Yeah, faster or
slow. They even
groove,
rearrange and do stuff differently.
Solos, yeah.
So if I watch a cover band and they, they'll maybe do the same type of thing, but they will do it respectfully, and they'll still have a jam and the song still flows well, and then okay, cool, but if they try to nail the song as is on a CD, and they mess it up, then it's probably just a practice thing.
Yes.
What makes, I don't know, it's tricky with cover bands because it's usually in a setting where everyone is partying.
Yeah, they're either I think it's to distinguish between a tribute band and a normal and a cover, like a gig cover band, is you have one of two gigs. You have one gig where no one's paying any attention, and then you have the gigs where everyone's paying attention. And I think you have to suss that out. So if you're doing a cover band for a gig where everyone's paying attention, you got to study up you have to study up, you have to make plans, you have to arrange, you have to maybe throw in some Easter eggs. You know, you can play a song terribly, like a Nirvana song terribly, but if you maybe reference something that Kurt Cobain did once, people are gonna be like, oh wow, that band, that was such a cute effort. We'll come see them again next time, and next time it'll be better. So it's like that is a growing thing of growing into those shoes. And then the other band, it's kind of like, this is where you can get to add your own flavor, and really, because no one's paying attention, you can really like experiment and play around.
Because sometimes with cover bands, I mean, like the question is, you know, what makes a good cover band?
Yes.
I mean, if the musician should also just realize, like, can you play the parts in the first place?
Yes.
Because I would rather listen to a different interpretation than a watered down version of the song.
Oh yes, yeah. Don't want to water down anything.
Because I don't want to listen to a really bad version of, I don't know, Stairway to Heaven or Purple Rain or something, you know, where the vocalist isn't hitting the notes, the drummer isn't tight, the guitarist is messing up the lines.
Because everyone knows these songs. That's like even a non-musician they hear these songs all the time. You can't mess it up.
The one thing that is super effective that I've been part of is when you play, for a little while I played in a reggae band, and the band leader, the vocalist, was a very smart man, and he started catering to restaurants and people that do like covers, but because it's a reggae band, we do it in a reggae style. And that was so much fun, because the melody basically stays the same, but the feel and everything just changes around it, and that just gave it so much more space.
Yes.
You know, so it's like, I don't want to say like a genre specific cover band, but you know, you just do your reggae, you just do your vibes, and people just like dance immediately. But of course, still you have to do it well.
Yeah, I mean, that ties in very well with our next question, which is, how can I elevate my covers to be original and fresh? And yeah, that's kind of the point of it, is that if you want to be original and stand out, you can look at all of these stylistic cover bands on YouTube. Like,
I mean, it's still a job.
That's a massive job, because now it's like you are brewing your own identity. If you want to get original and fresh, you will have to get your niche. Which, like that, like, you can take any song and turn it into a reggae, but then you have to know reggae. Then you have to know exactly what flavor there is to that, and how do you put that flavor into another song without ruining the flavor of that song. Like, what you have to really understand and decide whether you're keeping that flavor or not. I mean, a good cover can also be like, you know this song that's well known for this one thing? Well, we're not going to do that, and you guys are going to love it, because it's been meticulously planned out and kind of made into a new entity, and that's cool. I think it's also a good way, because so far we've spoken about songs that are very famous, like famous cover songs, repertoires. You have your standard repertoire that everyone loves in any genre, but there's also ways of taking obscure songs and bringing them into the limelight through covers. There are quite a few songs in the past that were not that well known, and then someone picks it up and it's actually a cover.
Yeah, it's really good to have, let's say, if you do a tribute act, and it's always good to have 2 or 3 like really lesser known songs, some of the good ones that sort of kind of got overlooked, because you'll always have the hardcore fans that'll be like,
respect.
Yeah, they'll be like, okay, cool, you know about this at least, you know, like really delving deep into the band's catalog and maybe doing something from the first or second album, or that never got the recognition that it deserved, but it became a cult song for the hardcore fans. And
the fans that just went to listen in, maybe especially people who aren't necessarily massive fans. Say someone bought you a ticket to this Tina Turner show, and you just listen to Simply the Best, and you're thinking, yeah, of course they're playing Simply the Best. Even I know that song. And then they play a song you've never heard before. And you're like, okay, Tina Turner's not that bad. Maybe I'll go check it out. You create a fan by playing songs they haven't even heard. So it's. But
have you also noticed that like a lot of bands, their hit single isn't always in the genre or feel that they actually are, if that makes sense. Or okay, like let's say for Radiohead example, that Creep tune, they didn't
That
even
doesn't
want the song on the album. They
Yeah.
hated the song, but the producer just went, "That's gonna be your hit single,"
And it was.
you know. And no one in the band likes the song. They don't want to play it or anything, you know. And if you go listen to other Radiohead tunes, you know, Creep is basically the boringest Radiohead song there
Yeah.
is.
But it's so. I think its lyrics is what it's the ultimate. Oh, shame! I feel bad for myself. Song.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
think
that's just
We've
Radiohead
all been
overall.
there. Yeah, but that Creep. I think every single 14-year-old listened to that song and went, "Oh, it's me!"
Yeah.
and then you turn 20 and you realize, oh, everyone everyone kind of felt that way. Yeah, so it's fascinating. Yeah, so I'd say pushing the boundaries of genres and mashing up to pull back to that thing of give them the next thing they would like as well. You can go into the obscure, but you can also just and then this is now if you're not even doing just one artist, you can just string together a bunch of songs that kind of sound the same.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that easily with modern songs with the 4-chord progression.
Not just 4-chord, but like vibes.
Mm.
You know, I was playing at a jam session one night and they were playing, oh, damn it, what was the song? It was like a C minor tune. You know, like, it was I Will Survive.
Oh, nice.
And I Will Survive, and I was like, keep that chord progression going. And they were like, okay. And I started singing Gnarls Barkley's Crazy. And then the next guy comes up and sings Frickin' Summertime.
Yeah.
That also works over those. And then Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone. And like, oh, cool. All of these songs that are kind of about how, like, it's heartache. Like, thematically, they tie together well as well. Like, that's a big thing. But, like, the minor blues.
Yeah.
Minor blues, a bunch of songs about heartache with the groovy vibe. You get one's bass line over the other one's chorus. There's a band on YouTube called Pompaloose. They do that. They're the creators of Scary Pockets who do funk covers. And the keyboardist of that band actually did Patreon. That's
okay,
so it's
cool.
the guys who started Patreon do the like innovation guys.
That's great.
And they did this one cover, a mashup between Poker Face and Sweet Dreams.
Okay, I can see that.
Where they put Sweet Dreams bass line over Poker Face, and then Poker Face's bass line over Sweet Dreams, and it was such a trippy vibe because it's like these two songs I would not have like. Yes, that makes sense. I mean, Annie Lennox and Lady Gaga are like the same person, like artistically, art pop, but I would never have thought of those two together.
I mean, that's also just a special type of talent to arrange songs like that.
Like pay attention, you know.
Yeah, that's like really. I mean, you have to listen to a lot of music in the first place and have a really good ear to be like, oh, these two songs can like fit oddly well together. You know,
I was really into it in high school, and when Katy Perry's Roar came out, I annoyed my local Glee club. I guess it was. Yeah, Glee clubs was a dark time in the early 2010s, but I annoyed them with my mashup cover of Katy Perry's Roar and The Eye of the Tiger. And I made it work. It was not supposed to work. Somewhere a few people are turning in their graves, but it worked.
That's
somehow the most majory poppy tune with the cheesiest 80s tune. Yeah, I'd never revisited it though. And I think I also did like, cause our themes were colors, and we did black and yellow mashed up with Purple Rain.
That's cool.
Which was kind of cool as well. Like, try to challenge yourself. Pick two songs. Try to do it randomly. Go on the top 10 list of last year and the top 10 list of 5 years back. Like, so pick a nostalgic tune and a current tune, and then just force them together. Like, just go, and now kiss. You know, like just force them to work, and it won't always work. But if you do it enough times, you kind of grow a habit of hearing specific things or triggering specific things.
Also, I found out the other day that I forgot the artist's name. she had a song. I always thought it was an original song, but it was a Roy Orbison tune actually. And it's crazy how sometimes you would find a song from a recent pop artist, and you'll realize that the song is actually just an old cover. But I don't know. It's the younger people won't know that old song at all. You know.
Yes.
And they hear this tune and they're like, "Oh, cool! This is a nice original new tune," but it's
Yes.
actually just an old cover. That's also like a whole different aspect of how you can just like,
Oh, Country Road was like that.
yeah,
The what's his name? Little Nas X.
yeah,
That tune. That was like an old song.
you know. So you get this whole generation of people that like hear old songs for the first time, but it's just a cover.
Yeah.
And some people go like, "What's happening here?" And other people are like, "Oh, listen to this new song."
I mean, Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You." That's a Dolly Parton cover.
Oh, really? Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, there you go. You see,
Like, what? Dolly Parton? I would never like think from Dolly Parton to Whitney Houston. Those are two completely different, but the heart of the song stayed the same. And I was that, and they're both completely different versions.
And you know what? Actually, strange. Like Eric Clapton put, was it JJ Cale? Because Cocaine is a JJ Cale song. And then Eric Clapton did it. He covered it, and that basically brought JJ Cale on the map.
Exactly.
You understand?
It's bizarre.
So you can literally, as a famous musician, put other people on the map with their songs. I Shot the Sheriff, Eric Clapton, Bob Marley.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and it's incredible. And I think it's because you get so many unknown musicians covering known musicians' song, and but if they do it the other way around, the impact is so much more because
Yes.
it's so many more ears.
And it's weird. It's also seeing like super famous ones cover each other.
But that's also like, I mean, they do that a lot in the Afrikaans industry.
They
They'll
do-
just cover each other's songs.
It was a big thing, but like really, it was a
I mean,
massive thing in like the
50s as
50s
well.
and 60s. I was just about to say, like, you would hear the same song. I mean, there's a lot of problematic stuff going on there as well. I mean, James Brown's whole thing is that most of his songs only become famous when white guys sing it.
Yeah.
So there's like a big discussion to be had about appropriation and like stealing, which I think can be a podcast on its own.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
taking care of your music is a massive topic. But I think covers shouldn't have a bad rap. We have there's a lot of opportunity there to grow and learn, but to also explore and experiment.
Look, what I would say at the end of the day, as a young musician, learn as many songs in different genres, in different styles, genres, same thing. Try to rearrange songs. Try to change the genre. It'll practice your learning by ear and your arranging. But there will come a point as an artist where you have to decide, am I going to be an original artist and I'm going to take everything I learned from all these songs and I'm going to start writing my own music, or am I going to continue on this path and be a cover musician?
Oh heck, you can do both, you know. But
can
like
do both.
it's definitely, there has to be not commitment, but there has to be intention and respect and discipline behind anything you do in music. But covers more than that, because it's not your shit. It's someone else's.
Because
You
I'd
can't-
rather become famous on my own songs than someone else's songs.
Yeah. But I think that we can wrap up our thoughts with we can wrap it up with live performance workshop. We don't have to play the jingle, but like that, it wraps up so nicely. If we talk about the LPP track for a second, we're doing
Jukebox,
the
Ed Sheeran.
postmodern jukebox version of Ed Sheeran's Shape of You, which there are also a million other versions of, because it's such a blank canvas that Ed Sheeran gave out this one groove and these really like bitey lyrics. Those lyrics, they just move. It's like he's basically rapping it.
Oh yeah, he's a great vocalist.
And the moment you have a 16th note thing, that's like cool, funk works, rapping works. You can just make it a rap tune. You can put anything under that track and it works. So it's quite cool to perhaps now, after listening to this, to go re-explore that cover and see what you can see within it, and how those groups really have that respect for the shape of you, and it's still the shape of that song, with the same message and everything, but it's completely different.
And I'm sure they I guess the original artist would sometimes just sit and watch YouTube covers of their songs. I mean, I would definitely do that, because I know. I mean, I've seen a video of John Mayer saying that he spends half his time on Instagram watching covers of his own songs.
So precious.
You know, and he loves it, and he says just keep them going. I love watching you guys play my music and interpreting my music, you know. But it gets difficult with all the copyright strikes and fighting YouTube and all that. It's a struggle, because it's so gutting when you try and make a cover song and you try and do a video and you record everything, you get it nice and you upload it, and then 30 seconds later you get an email saying you can't do this.
Yeah. Perhaps next week we shall talk about protecting your music. But for this week, go out there, go learn some stuff, make some new music, and we'll chat again next time.
Cool. Thanks for popping in, guys, and we will see you soon.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Bye.